I am quietly admiring the artwork in a small gallery in Charlottetown when one particular painting stops me in my tracks. I gasp out loud. There it is, an almost perfect depiction of my childhood home in Yarmouth, Nova Scotia. My reaction is visceral. I must have that painting. To most, this painting probably looks like nothing more than a big yellow house on the coast, simplistic and amateur in its composition. To me, it is a slideshow time capsule with a play button that only I can see, projecting clips of pure joy. Its Gothic Revival architecture, complete with gabled roofline and symmetrically placed windows, is wonderfully familiar. Suddenly, I am 4 years old again. This is the place I feel safest and most loved. My mother doesn't live here, but my grandparents and aunts do, and they take very good care of me. I have such vivid memories of this yellow home. This painting takes me back there instantly. I pass by the giant forsythia bush through the porch into the ample kitchen. My taste buds savor Nan's famous blueberry pies and squares, lovingly prepared from handwritten recipes with no measurements and instructions to cook in a hot oven until done. Grampy shuffles a little dance as he prepares a special breakfast just for the two of us on the blacktop stove. His cheeky grin warms my heart. I walk through the butler's pantry into the living room with its leaded glass bookshelves and cast iron wood stove, where we celebrate laughter filled Christmases. To the left, through the framed archway and across the hall, I take 3 steps down to the French doors that announce the entrance to the ballroom, a perk for guests of this home in its former life as an inn. I twirl to the end of the polished dance floor and pass through the doorway to my personal playroom. It has a grand fireplace and windows on 3 sides looking out on the lake at the back of our property. The artist has depicted the waterline horizon through to each window on the opposite side of the house so that I don't have to strain my eyes to recreate that magnificent view. I wander back up to the hallway and stop a moment to chat with my friend, the little girl in the oval bubble glass frame on the wall. I admire the string of hand drawn pearls around her delicate neck and the oversized hair bow that enhances her perfect ringlets. I wave goodbye and look to my right. My tiny hand reaches for the intricately carved newel post, and I climb to the second floor. I follow the rail around the stairs past my grandparents' and Aunt Darlene's bedrooms and run to the room that I share with my Aunt Meredith. I plunk myself down on the window bench and I smile as I notice the still inactive sink attached to the wall, another vestige of this home when it hosted paying guests. Suddenly, I hear the screeching laughter that my aunt tickles out of me daily, mercilessly, as I lay on our bed looking up at the water-stained ceiling tiles. Outside, wind-blown bed sheets flap in the warm breeze on the three-poled clothesline. I see Nan, arms above her head, her apron overflowing with clothespins, a full basket of freshly washed laundry at her feet. The summer sun twinkles across the gentle ripples on the lake. These are happy and innocent times. But where is my mom? I'm not sure. We don't talk about that. I do know that my Nan helps me write her the occasional letter. Maybe she'll visit on my birthday, or maybe at Christmas. At age 6, she'll introduce me to my new dad, Bill, and move me 1,500 kilometers away from everything I know and love to a tiny apartment somewhere in southern Ontario. I dream of having a trusting and loving relationship with my mom one day. Instead, I learn to be a dutiful daughter who doesn't rock the boat. Life is calmer that way. Over the next 20 years, I return to my hometown to visit with my family many times. With each trip to the Yellow Castle, I notice its physical state of disrepair, but emotionally, it never disappoints. Walking through the front door always means entering into the loving embrace of dear relatives. Even the house itself seems to give me a big, warm hug. And then, within what seems like a flash, Grampy has a stroke that leaves him paralyzed on one side and without speech. Unable to care for him or the house, Nan moves Grampy to a convalescent home and herself to a senior's apartment. The house sells immediately. During my next visit to Nova Scotia, I take a drive to see my yellow castle. As I slow down to have a look, I nearly slip into the ditch across the rural road. All I can see is tall, wispy, wheat-like grass blowing in the wind where my castle once stood. The new owner has built a sprawling, modern, dark blue home right on the lake at the end of a winding driveway. I collapse over the steering wheel and weep as though I'm attending a funeral for a dear friend. In a way, I am. 30 years later, when I see the painting of my beloved yellow house in the Charlottetown Gallery, I am ready to take it home. The painting, which is slightly larger than a sheet of paper, is $650. My practical self takes over and tells me to think about it. I jot down the name of the artist with a plan to do some research later. When I arrive home, I find the artist's website and learn that the painting in Charlottetown is no longer available. Luckily, a gallery in Toronto has a larger version of my castle. The price? $2,100, the cost of my first car. I emailed the gallery 3 times over the next 2 years. Each time, they still have it, and it's still $2,100. Finally, I let my emotional self win the debate, and I buy it, knowing that it will bring me a daily dose of happiness. Now, each morning when I awake, I look at the wall facing my bed. I can smell the freshness of line-dried laundry. I can feel the breezy salt air touch my face. I can see the warm smiles and hear the infectious laughter of my grandparents and my aunts. I can taste the never-ending stream of delicious baking and seafood dishes my Nan prepared from memory. Then I gaze to my left and say, "Hi, Nan," and once again admire her pearl necklace. The unconditional love I felt in that home for just a few short years has sustained me my whole life. I have always loved the color yellow.